Over the 200 years since the Marshall Court's decision in Marbury v. Madison, the Court's exercise of judicial review has become widely, if not universally, accepted. However, a related debate persists over the frequency with which the Court exercises this power. The political controversy over judicial policymaking, in fact, is frequently articulated in terms of the context of judicial activism, particularly during presidential election campaigns. Politically conservative candidates tend to argue that presidents should not appoint judicial activists as judges on the federal courts. They tend to equate judicial activism with inappropriate judicial policymaking. If elected, they promise to appoint judicial restrainers. We should not confuse judicial activism or judicial restraint on the one hand with political liberalism or political conservatism on the other hand. We will understand judicial activism to be a philosophy of judicial decision-making that reflects a willingness on the part of a justice or an entire court to use its power of judicial review to void acts of other branches of government that it deems contrary to the Constitution. Judicial restraint refers to a philosophy of judicial decision-making that reflects a reluctance on the part of a justice or an entire court to use its power of judicial review to void acts of other branches of government that it deems contrary to the Constitution. Thus, the distinction between judicial activism and judicial restraint really has to do with the frequency with which the court exercises its power of judicial review, not with the predominant political ideology among the justices. The tendency in the political debate to associate judicial activism with political liberalism began with the Warren Court in the 1950s and 1960s. During Chief Justice Earl Warren's 16-year tenure from 1953 to 1969, the Supreme Court declared 25 acts of Congress, either in part or in whole, unconstitutional. There is no question that the Warren Court handed down decisions that would be characterized as politically liberal. However, the Rehnquist Court, in an 18-year period from 1986 to 2005, when Chief Justice William Rehnquist presided over the court struck down 41 acts of Congress. The Rehnquist Court was dominated by political conservatives.